Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm going to share with you 6 profiles of giving, ways that you can help your team, your colleagues, and your community. Welcome along to FBP Live. You've tuned in to 5 Minutes of Fitbizpiration, where every single week I share with you bite-sized business tips in around 5 minutes. And I'm going to be upfront today and tell you it's not going to be 5 minutes. We've got a longer one coming for you guys today. Maddie, good morning. So good to see you. We missed you at AB's show last week. So guys, Harvard Business Review released a great article which was titled The 6 Profiles of Giving. And in that article, this is what they said. They said, number 1, experts share knowledge. Number 2, coaches teach skills. Number 3, mentors give advice and guidance. Number 4, connectors make introductions. And number 5, extra milers show up early, they stay late, and they volunteer for extra work. Now I'm going to go through those one more time before we talk about them. And as I'm going through, I want you to write 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or a couple of them for any of those profiles of giving that sound like you. Patrick, so good to see you. Good morning. Okay, so I just want you to write 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, whether you're watching it live or if you're watching the replay later on, and tell me which one of these profiles of giving sounds like you. So number 1, are you an expert that shares knowledge? Number 2, are you a coach that teaches skills? Number 3, are you a mentor that gives advice and guidance? Now remember, you might be one, you might be a couple of these profiles. Number 4, are you a connector that makes introductions? Or are you number 5, an extra miler that shows up early, stays late, and volunteers for extra work? Now, what I love about these 6 profiles of giving is that they're all about giving back. They're all about helping others, but what's your investment? Your investment is time. It's not necessarily about giving back financially. Now, one of the reasons that I was inspired to talk about this give back topic today was because of the California bushfires that are happening at the moment. Now, unbelievably, I kind of pinching myself this time last week, literally this time last week, I was in California. I was with my friend Marissa Hoff from Stevenson Fitness. We were walking through Malibu, appreciating the scenery, appreciating the beautiful landscape, the view, the houses. And literally just a few days later, they have been struck by the most terrible and tragic bushfires. And I think it's amazing at a time like this when so many of their homes are evacuated and so many people are going through this tragedy that businesses in the area are finding ways to give back. And Stevenson Fitness is one of those businesses. And Chris Stevenson and Marissa Hoff and all of the team there at Stevenson Fitness, despite going through this terrible time themselves, have opened up their doors for the firefighters to come in and use the facility and use the showers and that type of thing. I think it's an incredible gesture of giving back to a community in a way that's not necessarily financial, but makes a huge difference to people's lives. So before we kind of get into today, a massive shout out and sending huge love to everyone that's being affected by the California bushfires at the moment. JT, good morning. So just having a look at those 6 profiles that I took you through right at the very beginning of the show. Other examples, when I think about people that give back, I think about people that go the extra mile. I think about people like Lynn Nieto, Jim Worthington, Peter Brown, that work incredibly hard to fundraise for Augie's Quest and for ALS. I think about people like Chuck Runyon, the CEO of Anytime Fitness, who donates the proceeds from his book, Love Work, to the Heart First Charitable Foundation. So there are so many different ways of giving back, but today our focus is on those 6 profiles of giving. And if you haven't written them already, those of you that are watching live, I want you to write 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of the profiles that I mentioned. I'm going to go through them super quickly one more time, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 in the comments for any of these that best describe you. Are you 1, an expert that shares knowledge? 2, a coach that teaches skills? 3, a mentor that gives advice and guidance? Are you 4, a connector that makes introductions? Or 5, an extra miler that shows up early, stays late, and volunteers for extra work? Now, when we look at that first one, that experts that share knowledge, there is one person that springs to my mind immediately. Someone that is incredibly intelligent, knowledgeable, and humble. And that is Rick Caro. He is one of the most incredible people I've ever had the opportunity to meet. His knowledge is second to none. He is someone who is an observer, he's a contributor, he's an educator, and he is a true example of that first profile of giving, who is an expert that shares knowledge. When I look at the second one, a coach that teaches skills, I think about Jessica Matthews. Some of you might remember Jessica. She was a guest on the show, and she actually teaches free community yoga classes. So she puts on these free yoga classes by the beach, beautiful location, and she collects donations for charity. But Jessica herself volunteers her time to help others and to give back to others. So as I'm going through each of these profiles, the reason that I want to share all of these with you today is so that you really think about what are the ways that I can give back, or what are the ways that I do give back to help others. And once again, they don't need to be financial contributions. These are all profiles of giving that are all about donating your time. And for anyone, before I go on to the next three, for anyone that hasn't seen the session that I run on success strategies of ultra high performance, this is one of the 5 key elements that I've identified really sets apart the very, very best business leaders in our industry from everyone else. And that is that they are dedicated contributors. And for those of you that are already active contributors or actively give back in some way, you know the incredible feeling that you get from doing that. It's just as enriching for you as the person that's giving back as it is for the person that's receiving that help or that guidance. Eugene, good morning. Welcome along. Okay, so we've gone through profile 1, which was experts that share knowledge, and profile 2, coaches teach skills. Profile 3 is about mentors that give advice and guidance. And when I think about this particular profile, I think about my old boss, Peter Miller. He is one of those people who always will make time for you, will always listen, will never judge, and will give guidance when it's absolutely needed. He's just one of those amazing people, and I'm hoping that all of you have a Peter Miller in your life at some stage. The fourth one, connectors that make introductions. So this is someone who just goes out of their way to make introductions, and there is no one in this industry that I know that does this better than Justin Tamsett from Active Management. He may be the best connected person of anyone that I know. Now, if you need someone for something, then chances are he will know just the person to recommend. And if the connection is right, then he will introduce you. So he's the perfect example of profile number 5, which is connectors make introductions. And the last one, that was number 4, sorry. And the last one is extra milers that show up early, stay late, and volunteer for extra work. Now, I'm going to put my hand up for this one, and it's not necessarily always a good profile, this one, in my experience, because sometimes this particular person that gives back can give a little bit too much about putting in extra hours or going the extra mile or volunteering for extra work. So it's one of those profiles of all of the 5 that you need to be just that little bit careful of in regards to how much time you dedicate and how much extra you give back, because the last thing you want to do is burn out and give too much. So this brings me to my last point, which is this. One of the things that Harvard Business Review say about these profiles of giving is that you only want to focus on 1 or 2 of these, not all of them, because if you try and do too much, it's going to burn you out. You're going to get exhausted. So thinking back again one more time about each of those profiles. So we've got experts that share knowledge, coaches that teach skills, mentors that give advice and guidance, connectors that make introductions, and extra milers that show up early, stay late, and volunteer for extra work. So write for me 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 in the comments below for which one of those best represents you. JT, I was thinking which profile, and I thought number 4. I told you that you were the person that came to my mind immediately for that one. Okay, guys, so I hope you enjoyed those profiles of giving today. Now, I've left the biggest news right to the very end. So if you're still listening right now, you've got the big news update. And that is, as of right now, as of today, we are celebrating episode 200. That is right, episode 200. Holy moly. We've produced 200 episodes of the show. And our special guest for this week is Amanda Bond, the ad strategist. And Amanda talks about conversational selling on Facebook. Let me tell you, it is an absolute ripper of an episode. She is incredible incredible. She shares heaps of information and talks us through a case study. So the second that this live broadcast is done, then I want you to jump away, go straight to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com or jump onto iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, one of your podcast players, and hit play and take a listen to episode 200 with Amanda Bond, because she is seriously sensational. In conjunction with celebrating 200 shows, we have also just surpassed 303, to be exact, 1,000 downloads. So I wanted to take this opportunity while we're live this morning to just say a huge shout out to everyone that is involved in the show. A massive thank you to all of the team. So that's our foundation partner, Active Management, who has obviously been with us from day one. All of our amazing podcast partners, Precore, MyZone, Tribe Team Training, One Fit Stop, Team Rockstar Fit, and Gym Sales, and ABC Financial. Thank you so much to every single one of you for your support. All of our listeners, I feel like I'm doing an Academy Award speech. All of our listeners, thank you so much to all of you that tune in each week on the live broadcast and on the replay. Thank you so much for all of your support, guys. And to all of our guests, I'm talking about giving back, and our guests give back every single time that they appear on this show. They don't get paid for doing the interviews. They volunteer their time to share their expert advice and their knowledge with all of the listeners of the show. So thank you so much to all of our guests, and also all of the team behind the scenes of the show. So JT, Alicia, Mel, Diana, Harper, all of you, thank you so much. So that's the Academy Awards speech over and done with. Once again, sending lots of love to everyone in California that's going through those tragic bushfires at the moment. And guys, jump away from here, tune into episode 200, and thank you so much for joining me for a somewhat longer episode of 5 Minutes of Fitbizpiration. I will see you guys next week.